Routine, Janusz, in the end and throughout, in fact. What impressed you most about Chelsea today?
Well, I think what has impressed me the most is what we've seen since Thomas Tuchel took over. I mean, they're just an incredibly solid team. And although we keep on talking about sometimes their inability to finish games or score enough goals, I think defensively they understand the philosophy of Thomas Tuchel. And, the feeling I get is the best is still to come. If you look at Chelsea, my goodness, I mean, think about what Thomas Tuchel was able to accomplish so far, and he just got there. Give him a window or two, and I think you look at it, Chelsea again. The perfect Chelsea of years gone past when they were winning every competition in Europe. So they're still in that competition, by the way. So when I say the best is yet to come, it may come this year in the Champions League. But if it doesn't, I think in the future you will see Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel. It's just incredible to see how quickly they've bought into that culture that he introduced.
Quite a few candidates for man of the match. Do you want to pick between Kai Havertz and Mason Mount?
Well, I mean, it's a tough choice. I mean, Kai Havertz scoring 2 goals, and I think it's important, to see how he's developing. He's coming good, and not because he scored the 2 goals. It's the way he's moving. That little bit of an arrogance that we've been missing, the good type of arrogance, right? Because we know how comfortable he is on the ball, how much he sees. So I think this was, we've had the indication of that in the last 2 or 3 matches. I think he scored 3 in the last 3 in the Premier League as well. But I would have picked Mason Mount. I mean, it is incredible what he's doing, Mark. I watch him, and I don't want to, compare him to other players. But if you think that Phil Foden is that good, I could easily make a case that Mason Mount is just as good, if not better in some ways, because I think his footballing IQ is a little bit higher. I mean, you can plug him everywhere. I mean, there's a certain level standard that he doesn't go below. But the crazy part about Mason Mount is that he almost every game I watch him, he raises that level. So that's what's incredible about him. So I would have given to Mason Mount, but I don't want to diminish the 2 goals that Kai Havertz scored because they were certainly important.
By the way, from an England perspective ahead of the Euros, Gareth Southgate has got a fair few decisions to make. Mount obviously in the squad, but there's a lot of players competing for midfield berths. Would you have Mason Mount as a starter?
It's not even a question. I mean, even if everybody's healthy, I mean, there's talk about, of course, in that sort of, we'll see, if Southgate is going to play with 3 in the back. Recently, he's played with 4 in the back. But I think, Jack Grealish, of course, he's not playing, but he's the type of player he's going to compete with, Maddison. There's many. Sterling, who hasn't been at his best. Look, even when everybody's playing well, I think Mason Mount picks himself in the starting 11. He's going to be well protected by either Henderson or Declan Rice. Plenty of players there, so no question in my mind that Mason Mount will start in European Championships.
Okay, you said that Tuchel has improved Chelsea. What does he need to do to continue improving to get that first league title since 2017 and match what Manchester City are doing right now? What's missing?
Well, I mean, of course, that consistent number 9. I mean, they have to do it. He's proven that he can do it without. Of course, this is top 4. But if I'm him, it's easy to say that they need, Lukaku or Haaland. But really, if I'm Chelsea, I'm going after Lukaku, and I'll spend any money that's required. Now, I don't know if Inter and Antonio Conte will let him go, but just on the assumption that he is sellable. Roman Abramovich can afford it, and Lukaku is the man. There's an unfinished business in terms of Chelsea and Lukaku. He would make others around him better because they have 4 or 5 players that can play with him and off of him, of course. He understands the league. He understands Chelsea and London as well. It's an absolute no-brainer in terms of trying as hard as you possibly can to bring him back home.
We've seen with Lukaku, if you surround him with good players, you give him the service, he'll do well. He does it for Belgium. He's done it in the past. And now, of course, at Inter, he's got Lautaro, and he's built up a wonderful relationship. Would there, just trying to play devil's advocate, given he's been at Chelsea before and didn't make the grade, albeit far different circumstances, is it A, a point to prove and could maybe go back and show them that they were wrong to get rid of him, or B, I've had that experience, didn't quite fancy it, same at Man United, I think I'll stay where I am and try and get more money with Inter?
Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit deeper and deeper here. Inter, of course, but it looks like they will be winning the Scudetto in Serie A. Of course, I mean they do have some issues with their ownership, right? They're trying to sell him. Who knows what's going to happen there? But I think if I'm him, I try to come back because it's Chelsea, because of what happened in the past, right? Where he seemed to be on loan and where he seemed to have to prove to everybody how good he was, even though we all knew that he was good enough, right? I mean, we were going crazy. How many loans does he have to go on to where he actually goes, scores goals, proves that he can, and yet there is no place for him at Chelsea? So I think that he would go. I mean, this is of course just a guess on my part. And if he'd go, he'd be successful because he's learned, he's matured. Of course, he can score goals, he can combine it with others, as you know well, commentating Serie A as well. So. Look, it's just a no-brainer. The tough part is making it happen.
Finally, Chelsea on course to finish in the top four if they keep up this form and get into the Champions League. But I'm going to throw a grenade in right at the end to you and say, forget the league table right now. If everybody plays at their best, I think we all agree that City win. Where would Chelsea be at their best if everyone is at their best right now? What position would they be in the table?
Yeah, I think they'd be fighting with Manchester United at the moment. I mean, Liverpool could have been. I still think third or fourth because I don't think Leicester City would have been there. And I want to, give Brendan Rodgers plenty of credit because he's doing an incredible job. But you have to think that if Liverpool had all their players, they'll be up there. Manchester, I think they'll be fighting. I want to say Manchester United for third or fourth. So similar spot right now because there's a couple of components they're missing. But then again, if you asked me that question a little bit earlier, say if Tuchel got to Chelsea a little bit earlier, that could have been a different story because he has done an amazing job.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.